What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back for the episode of Poker Hands. Today, we're going to be breaking down a hand from Matt Berkey played over on Live at the Bike. Let's go ahead and jump into the action.
Down significantly? What, you're going to leave now?
No.
Like when you're down?
I don't
Makes no sense,
it
right?
makes zero sense.
I don't have that display.
Well, how are you going to get out of that?
Oh, there's them big blinds deep.
See, the thing with buying in for 300 is you need to be able to reload for 300 as well.
I mean, he's right. You got to reload for that.
I'm fixing to play a big one.
So for it's like,
I bought it for 20 grand. I'm ready to reload for 20
And
grand.
oh my god,
Well, let's go.
just in time,
maybe not. I don't know.
Eric picks up Cowboys,
That's
and
good.
Berkey's got Jack 4 off.
Our hand begins at 100-200 with a $400 straddle by Eric Hicks. He opens it up with the pocket kings at $1,500 to go. Definitely a hand you want to be playing, the second best hand in No Limit Texas Hold'em, although the raise size may be just a touch big. The action folds around to Matt Berkey in the straddle, who looks down at Jack 4. Now, when you have a hand like Jack 4, it's important you build this pot. Jack 4 offsuit is a powerhouse. It can win all kinds of pots that you might not expect. You don't want to wait for later. Build this pot right now. Matt Berkey decides to go ahead with it and makes it $7,000 to go. Back over to Eric Hicks with pocket kings here. You really just want to be 4-betting this. Certainly, you could argue to call every now and then, but these players do have a healthy number of big blinds behind. When you have a roughly 200 big blind stack, you're going to want to play for all of it with kings just about anywhere, any position. Can get a little dicey here, but with the straddle and the ante, you're probably just going to want to 4-bet and take it from there. Eric Hicks has other ideas, though. He does decide to just call, slow play it, and let's take a flop.
Right.
This dude,
Right.
you're back.
And Eric just called, so Berkey has the betting lead, and he's not going to give up.
I mean, like, what are you going to do?
He bet
I had
7K,
everything. And a
and
leather
Mad
jacket.
Genius is just going to milk him with the call. He's played it perfectly.
The flop comes Queen 7-5 Rainbow, and Berkey decides to continuation bet $7,000. The thing about your flops is that you definitely want to spend thousands of dollars on them, like, for example, Matt Berkey's training site. That's right, you too can learn how to play poker from Matt Berkey and this all-star cast of characters. Let's take a look at the squad. Solve for Why comes fully equipped with top-notch coaches like Matt Hunt. Look at those sweet shades. He has over 500,000 in tournament winnings. I'd be wearing those shades too. Matt Hunt, not your speed? Can I interest you in self-admitted cheater Christian Soto?
Part of the coaching was me being ghosted.
Obviously, that's super fucking unethical.
What Soto might lack in accolades or ability, he certainly makes up for in spirit. Because if you call him a coward, it's, quote, on site. These are the kinds of guys that I want to learn math from. Also part of the Solve for Why team is infamous Jackson Lasky, seen here as a default photo on Hendon Mob.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Whoa, what a roster. There's just so many great people to choose from. In fact, if we go through all of the coaches, there are huge names, like, for example, Jesse Sylvia. Oh, wait, there's no content for him. But what about Russell Thomas? Oh, there's also no content. But, I mean, it's just so many good guys. It's endless possibilities here. Just exactly what comes with your subscription? I'm glad you asked, because your subscription includes ducking amateurs for high stakes, 5-bet folding 40% of your stack on a tourney, and spending hundreds of hours podcasting when you could be playing poker and proving you actually can beat games, but you don't.
And I have a lot of things to do.
But wait, there's more. Like, for example, this calendar of events coming up at Solve for Why, which includes nothing. And finally, the piece de resistance, the Poker Out Loud Academy, for just the low price of $3,995.
Obviously, that's super fucking unethical.
To Poker Out Loud. It's $4,000 to Poker Out Loud. As modern theory continues to advance, so do the tools of pay me money. Pay me money now. Anyway, back to the action. Matt Berkey bets the flop for $7,000. This is just too big of a size. For starters, you want to make sure when you bet this flop, you don't have spades in your hand, which Matt has the jack of spades. And then also, you want to use more of a 1/3 pot size here. The reason half pot isn't quite as good is you don't give yourself room to value bet thin with hands like pocket eights or jacks, and instead your range becomes a little bit more polar. If you bet bigger, you have more fold equity, which can make sense when you're bluffing, but I still think I'd prefer to go with a bit of a smaller size here, and I probably would not use this hand at all. If I was going to use Jack 4, I'd probably throw in something with a club and a heart or a club and a diamond, something like that, where I do block some of the backdoor flush draw floats. Over to Eric with pocket kings. I don't really mind calling or raising here. Both options are totally on the table. If you think it's likely your opponent is bluffing, setting the trap can be good, but there are hands you can get value from by raising right here. If you raise, you'll get a queen to call you. Hands like jacks or tens that are betting a bit thinner will have to call. And maybe even some hands like ace, king, backdoor flush draw could consider a call as well, although you do block a lot of those holdings. Eric decides to play it slow and makes the call, and let's take a turn.
The turn comes a 4, and Berkey now makes bottom pair. I wonder if this will make him slow down. He's got to know the 4 is not good, and he does check. And Mad Genius is sitting there with
Go
cowboys.
sleep on Berkey's couch after this.
Talks a little shit
My
and
wife
bets
said she went to go play cards
15K.
instead of spending.
And Berkey doesn't look done with this, but he's in bad shape.
The turn comes the 4 of spades, and Berkey now decides it's time to pump the brakes and think about what's actually happening. Which is a turn that Berkey doesn't often take, because when you look at how he talks about the lodge, he has no idea what's happening at all. In a podcast that Berkey released last year, he went in depth about what the lodge has to offer and what we don't have to offer. The problem with the video was he had absolutely no f***ing clue what he was talking about. He said things like, we need to add wires. We have wires. He said things like, we need to build a closed set. A thing that we have done. He said that we need a private room to have boxes. We have a private room and we have boxes. He said that we need to have a multi-level story room, because that's something that's important for a poker room. It needs to be multiple stories, guys. He also said things like, I know they take crypto, which we have never taken at any point. Matt, you can say all the shit you want about me. I don't care. But we have over 200 employees at the lodge who are good people doing great work to make that business special. And so if you're going to come on your podcast and lie about them and about the work they do, I think you owe them an apology. Back to the turn, Matt Berkey has gotten there. He has finally hit his pair of 4s. He decides to slow down and go for the check. I like this play. You could argue to continue to bet here because there are hands like 9s that would have to fold if you barrel, but he does now have some showdown value. Additionally, it's better to bet with hands like a 5 on the flop because you block more of the value range that can be trapping. This 4 very rarely has improved Eric's hand. Berkey checks it over, and now Eric decides to bet $15,000. This is a reasonable bet here from Eric. I think it's a fairly well-sized bet. I might go a bit bigger, something more in the range of 2/3 pot here, something more like 20,000, but I don't mind the idea of a slightly smaller bet size, particularly because of the lack of a flush draw. Now back over to Matt Berkey with his pair of 4s. He has a crystal clear fold, so he does make the call, and let's take a river.
And the river is an ace. Berkey might want to bluff at this. It's a really good river for him to bluff, even though it doesn't make sense. It just hits him, and the specific hand that Hicks has, it's going to be tough for him. Berkey looks like he wants to do something, and there it is!
Fuck.
The all-in!
How much is it?
63.9.
It doesn't make any sense. And Mad Genius he's not just folded. He's got kings.
The river comes at ace, and Matt Berkey takes a little bit of time to think things over. You don't see that very often. The reality of Matt Berkey is something similar to a lot of people in poker. He just doesn't have what it takes to play poker at a high level, and so he's settled into this mediocre, middling grind of being able to make money off people that think he's good while he really doesn't do anything and sits on his throne where 17 people are worshiping him. What games has Matt Berkey ever been able to beat? He's won no bracelets. He's really won no big tournaments. He's not beaten the cash games that we see. He punts off all the time. What, is he playing in your 2-5 live games? Are these the people we should look up to? Or do we want to look up to the elite people in poker that really play well and are the top-notch players? You get to decide. Which is why I want to say, Landon, if you're watching, and I know you are, you're young. I know you lost your big blind bet to Bill Perkins, but I lost a body fat bet to him too. And you get to pick who your people will be. For most of these guys over at Solve for Why, it's going to be too late. I mean, yeah, look at those guys. But not for you. You're young, and you can still get out of the Solve for Why cult. So if you want to come on over here, there's room under my wing. I'll show you how poker's played. And we'll do it with the real pros. You have a chance. Get out while you still can. Anyway, back to Matt Berkey. The river comes in ace. It's time to jam, I guess, which is what Matt Berkey does. Now, for our opponent, Eric, tough spot now with pocket kings. Your opponent could have an ace, but It's not that tough because you look over and you see that you're up against Matt Berkey. There's only one thing you have to do.
He's assessing the situation. What would Berkey do this with? The alarm bells are going off for the Mad Genius. The open shove on the river from Berkey.
All right.
And Mad Genius scalds!
Oh my.
And he's going to win a $180,000 pot from Berkey.
Close.
And he didn't even think for more than a minute there.
That's going to be it today for Poker Hands. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and throw a like on this guy. I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.